Welcome to Start Before You're Ready, the podcast that proves that you don't need to wait for the perfect moment to begin your journey towards better health and happiness. I'm your host, Kelly Young. Remember, the first step is often the hardest, but it's always worth taking. Hey guys, it's Kelly, and I am here with an episode that I think you are going to love. This has actually been requested by my fitness community, and I think that it's something that's going to be really relevant for all audiences. So if you feel like this is helpful for you, I want to ask you to share it. I'm going to be talking about food, real food, not even nutrition so much, but real food. And I'm going to give you some tips and strategies on how you can eat better, spend less money, and feel good about the choices that you're making. So I'm going to start with my process. This is something that I have adopted over the years that seems to work really well for me and my family, with who's ever home at the time. But it's before you go to the store. So before you go to whatever store you go to or order your food or however you bring food into your home, you need to inventory what you have. And I think that there's always room for improvement in this area, but this is something that I do feel like I do a really good job with. And the place that I start with is the produce store, because those are the things that aren't going to last. And I tend to buy my produce in bulk. I buy a big thing of spinach, a big thing of mixed romaine, or a big thing of mixed greens, a big bag of broccoli, so getting to the point where everything that's in there is either has enough shelf life where it's going to last a few days, or it's cooked. So what I do when I think the vegetables are about to turn is I just cook them. I just steam them or roast them, and then I have them ready to go. I would love to tell you that I freeze them and I do all these things, but I don't. But I do cook them, especially spinach. I'll just steam it up. Big thing of spinach will steam up to not much, and then you can put it in your eggs. You can put it in but once it's cooked, it's not going to turn bad. But if it's something that has a short shelf life, you need to cook it up. Go through every part of your refrigerator. Are there leftovers in there that need to be tossed? Is there meat in there that needs to be either used or frozen? Is there cheese? Go through and inventory what you have. I know people are so good about meal planning, and I am not, but a lot of my meals come from, what do I need to use up? What's in the, okay, I've got broccoli and ground turkey. What can I make? And that's the really cool thing about like ChatGPT and some of these things. You can just put in like 3 random ingredients that you have and say, give me a healthy recipe that I can make in 15 minutes. And they'll give you something. I can't promise you it's going to be good, but it's definitely worth a shot. Inventory your pantry as well. Pantry foods do go bad. They don't have as long of a shelf life as I think people think they do. I think people think if they have a can of something, it lasts forever, and it does not. I know this from volunteering at the food pantry. They always made me read those little labels, and so many people donated expired food, not because they thought they didn't know, because I don't think people realize. So go through your pantry. What's in there? Do you have a bunch of cans of tuna? Do you have a lot of black beans? Do you have something that you could turn into a dinner? If you have food in your pantry, or your refrigerator for that matter, that you don't want to eat and nobody in your family is going to eat, try to give it to, if it's already open, try to give it to somebody that would potentially eat it and not be mad at you for giving it to them. Don't give your friend cookies if they're trying to lose weight, but get rid of it. Get rid of it. If there's like something in there that just calls your name and that is not something that you want to be eating right now, throw it away, or ideally give it away. But obviously the food pantry is not going to take anything that's already open. And I'm imagining that it might be something that's like half open. So that is another thing, inventory. If you are on a mission to improve your nutrition, to clean up your diet, you need to have all of the foods that you want to eat more of front and center. put them on display. When you open up your cupboard or your refrigerator, you want to see the foods that you want to eat more of. Okay. If you're seeing a bag of cookies, you're going to eat that bag of cookies. If you're seeing chocolate covered almonds, you're going to eat those chocolate covered almonds. So those need to be out of sight. I think our environment is way more important than I think anybody gives it credit for. So one of the things that I like to do in my refrigerator is I have a little bit of a system for whatever our cooked protein is and cooked vegetables. They kind of get a prominent shelf. Like there's the top shelf is eggs and egg whites, usually two things that have eggs and a lot of egg whites, and then creamer and milk and all that on that top shelf. The second shelf, those are the foods that I want to eat and I want anyone in my house to eat. So it's going to be like my cooked cut chicken, my roasted vegetables, my steamed broccoli, my slaw. I like to make a slaw. I know I've talked about this before, but that's just something that I like to have on hand, like a cabbage slaw or a broccoli slaw, because I think they're really tasty. They last 4 or 5 days and you just pull it out and have instant vegetables. Like I'm not the type that's going to like pull out raw vegetables and eat a plate of raw vegetables. That's just not me, but I'm loving having a vegetable ready that I can add to whatever meal, or even sometimes have as a snack, put in a wrap, put in a salad. Having vegetables and protein ready is number one, vegetables and protein ready, because those are the two foods that you want to eat at every meal. And sometimes you're not going to have time to prepare a meal. It could be rotisserie chicken. It could be something it doesn't have to be something that you make. Obviously, you have way more control over the food that you cook, but something is always better than nothing. Having a go-to protein in your refrigerator is key. This is not just from me. My clients say this too. It could be chicken salad. It could be tuna fish. It could be tuna cakes. There's so many things that it could be, but you want to have something. I'm going to tell you a story that's going to make you laugh right now. And this is not untypical. This was an extreme version of this, but I was trying to finish some stuff up this morning and I had 2 appointments and I was running out the door and I had like 5 minutes between the 2 appointments to eat something, and I didn't want to eat something out. I didn't have time to eat something out, and I already had cooked chicken and I had already put into containers. I had already put mixed greens and scallions. I know that's random, but like I was batching things up, finishing things up, and I just did that. So I grabbed one of the containers of that. I put a handful of the chicken on it. I grabbed my chopper, my Pampered Chef chopper, and I grabbed the entire Costco container of tzatziki, and I put it all in a bag. And then once I got there and I had a little bit of time in between, I just put a couple tablespoons of the tzatziki on and I chopped it up. I was so grateful that I had that all ready to go. And I find myself doing that often, where I'm just throwing something. And I think that's why I like to have the cabbage slaws or the broccoli slaws. Even the kale salad, I buy that, I'm sure grocery store sell it, but Costco sells a really good kale salad. It's not like your perfect food. Someone's going to find something wrong with the dressing or whatever, but it's delicious and it's kale. So it's great. I love having that on hand. The other two things that I like to have on hand, and one is more for other people in my family than me, is guac cups and hard-boiled eggs. Because I feel like if you have those two things, you can always make a meal. You can make an instant meal. And hard-boiled eggs, you can make them yourself, or you can find the best quality prepackaged ones that you can find. I love Costco has a new brand of them. They're organic and they're really well done. And it's just easier for me. That's my convenience food. I like to cook most of my food, but there's certain things that are just so much easier. And I love having those on hand, and they last pretty long too. Like it's a big box, but I've never had to throw them away. We always go through them. And they're right there. There again, I have a clear container in my refrigerator with those two things. Another thing that I like to have on hand is like the little Baby Bella cheeses. Those are great for snacks. People are always saying like, what should I have for snack? Those and in almonds or throws in an apple or some fresh vegetables. It's portioned. It's nice to have some of these foods that are yummy and maybe just more of a treat for us in a smaller portion. I really love doing that. I'll take, like yesterday, I actually took one of those, and I have this great knife right now, and I cut it really thin and I ate it with tomatoes. I actually chopped up those and tomatoes and chicken and just had that as a snack. I know that seems kind of like a random snack, but it was really good and really satisfying. Anytime you add cheese to anything, in my opinion, it makes it so much yummier. So obviously there's tons of other things that you can have ready to go in your refrigerator, but those are kind of my go-to things that I like to have ready. I know people like to make like chia puddings. I do too. I've been kind of off my chia pudding. I need to get back on it, to be honest with you. Or little cups of overnight oats, anything that's ready to go. Even if this is kind of a unique tip, even if everything isn't in there. What I mean by that, if you pre-portion out your Greek yogurt and you put it in little glass cups with lids and you pre-portion out like a half a cup, and then all you need to add to it is fruit and granola, that's going to be something really quick and easy. And it's something that once you get that product out, once you get the yogurt out, make 4, make 3, you'll eat them. Somebody will eat them. So that's my tip as far as before you go to the store. Okay. Before you go to the store, you want to have a clean refrigerator and you want to know what you already have. When you go shopping, you want to think about 3 things that you want to make sure that every meal has. And you've heard me say this time and time again, but the 3 things that I think you should have on hand at all times are, we already talked about protein, and frozen is a great option, especially a lot of you're air fry experts, way better than me. Buy the frozen fish, buy the frozen chicken. There's so many great products that you can buy. And that way you're not so worried about using it up at the right amount of time. There's even like prepared there's frozen sheet pan vegetables. I know all the grocery stores are selling them. Those are so great to have on hand, or I guess you call them sheet pan vegetables, but you can also roast them, or you can also cook them on the stove. So those are great things to have on hand. And you want to also think about your fiber. So a lot of my clients right now are on a cleanup. They're trying to clean up their diet. They're trying to clean up their nutrition. I think everybody is of the protein mindset right now. And I can't stress it enough how much it makes a difference getting enough protein. Every body is different, but most people need between 100 and some of my bigger guys closer to 200 grams of protein a day. That is a lot of protein. You do not get that much protein by just saying, I'm going to eat more protein. You have to be very deliberate. You really need to think in mass. You need to think that I have to figure out, like, what's my biggest bang for my buck? What food is going to help me get to 30, 40 grams of protein at a meal? Some of my personal favorites are eggs and egg whites, a combination of sometimes just egg whites. I can't eat 5 eggs. So I can't just get to my protein goal with eggs, but either a combination of eggs and some type of meat, like even just ground turkey, or I like the Amy Lou sausages, something that's got a big bang for your buck. Cottage cheese. People love, I know this is having a day, but it's actually really good. People love adding cottage cheese to their eggs. You can make scrambled eggs and add a half a cup of cottage cheese. It makes them light. It makes them fluffy. If you don't know, that's actually, if you like Starbucks egg white souffle bites, I used to make them all the time. And that was the secret. You put cottage cheese in them. You also put water in the oven. That's what makes them so like fluffy and yummy. But simple. It's even more simple than that, is just to cook your scrambled eggs and to add cottage cheese to it. It's a great way to increase the protein of your breakfast. Greek yogurt is great and it works really well as a topping. If you're like me and you're not going to eat I'm not going to eat a bowl of Greek yogurt, but I love to put it on top of tacos or to make a sauce with it, or even to mix it in my chia pudding. That's something I started doing is I would have my chia puddings all ready to go and put a little bit of protein powder in it, but not too much. So then just add some Greek yogurt. It kind of makes it creamy and yummy. Those are all great foods to help you with your protein goal. Another food to think about is tuna. Costco has a new, I think it's called Wild Planet, but they have a new tuna. I think it's in a yellow can. They have two well-sourced, they have the skipjack. And then this is another brand that actually the girl that wrote this, she wrote a protein cookbook. She suggested this type of tuna and it is really, really good. So tuna is a great food to have. I don't do this, but I've seen people do like the packs of tuna where they don't even have to open the can. Some of them are already seasoned. That's a great food to have on hand. You're also going to get protein from a lot of your plant foods. Okay. So looking at the higher protein plant foods, you've got quinoa. That's going to give you a good amount of protein. Your black beans is going to give you a good amount of protein. There's lots of like tempeh and tofu. Those are foods that are going to give you a good amount of protein, but you have to have it ready to go. You have to like have a plan for it. You can't just buy a package of tofu and be like, I'm going to eat more protein. You have to have a very, very specific plan for it. The next food that you want to think about getting more of, and this is the one that I'm really here to talk to you about today, because this is the one that I feel like my clients struggle the most with, and that is fiber. Okay. So fiber comes from your plants, and the better variety you eat, the better nutrition you're going to have. So you don't just want to just eat chia seeds or just eat broccoli or just eat apples or just eat berries. I look at fiber as a way to really enhance my nutrition. If I feel like if I'm having 6 or 7 different unique fiber sources every day, then I am having a very nutritious diet. And I believe, and this is not just a Kelly fact, this is something that you'll hear a lot of weight loss specialists tell people. And it's definitely true. Fiber is really the secret sauce to managing your weight, getting more fiber in your diet. It truly does make you feel full, and it is just a great way to to simplify your eating. What's my protein? What's my fiber? And then one of the things that I hear from my clients is, I need to watch my carbs, Kelly. I can't have all those beans, or I can't have some of those foods that are high in fiber because I have to watch my carbs. I'm very sensitive to that. I get it. And I'm here to tell you about some of my favorite high fiber, lower carb foods. So my very favorite is hearts of palm. I love it. I think that it is a great source of fiber, but it's also a great way to create a dinner around something that's very simple to make. So I'll use like a box of hearts of palm pasta. I'll add shrimp, spinach, sun-dried tomatoes, fresh garlic, broccoli. I'll add a bunch of different vegetables and I'll turn it into an amazing meal. That's one of my very favorite sources of fiber. Another one we already talked about a little bit, and it's not everybody's favorite, but if you like it, you like it. It's chia seeds. So chia seeds are a great food because they're all 3 things. They're protein, they're fat, and they're fiber. And you don't need a lot of them. There's a tablespoon, 2 tablespoons in your chia pudding or on your oatmeal makes a big difference in your fiber count. And it's not as obviously as caloric when you're using less of them. Other nuts and seeds that are great fiber sources are almonds, walnuts, pecans, pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds. These are all great foods because not only are they high in fiber and low in carbs, but they're delicious. They're all delicious. And those are foods that you don't have to do anything to eat. Now, keep in mind, all the foods that I just named, all the nuts and the seeds, they are very caloric. So you can't have unlimited portions of them. You have to watch your portions for calories. So a quarter cup is a serving for most of those things. A couple tablespoons if you're already having other things and it's just like an addition. Like I'll do like a couple tablespoons of sliced almonds or a tablespoon of pumpkin seeds on my salad. There's just a great way to enhance the flavor. Another low carb, high fiber food that I think everybody loves, I could be wrong, is avocado. It's very high in fiber. Fresh avocado is best. If you struggle with avocados like I used to, I'm going to give you a tip. Buy them hard and check them every single day. Check all of them because one might ripen a little bit faster and then the other, and keep them out on your counter until they're soft or they get a little bit soft. And as soon as they get soft, then they can move into your refrigerator. It's a joke in my family. A lot of times you'll look in the refrigerator and there's 2 halves of avocados because someone got an avocado before they looked in the refrigerator. And we're kind of now of the mindset of put the avocado like front. Don't stick it in the veggie drawer. Don't put anything. Just put it like front and center in the refrigerator so somebody knows that there's a half in there. But I've actually sent pictures to someone 2 avocado halves sitting in our refrigerator. Okay, some other vegetables. Vegetables are great because they really fill you up and they're super high in fiber. They're super nutritious. I love vegetables. I've always loved vegetables, even as a kid. I know not everybody does. But broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, cabbage. That's one of the reasons why I do my cabbage slaw is because it has so much fiber. And I also am a strong believer in color, trying to eat a variety of color when it comes to your food choices. And two of my favorite purples are cabbage and eggplant because I feel like it's easy to get green. It's easy to get red and the harder ones to get, the rarer ones are the purple. So I've kind of deliberate about getting the red cabbage. I also eat a lot of red onion and onions have a lot of fiber too. Someone asked me about onions and peppers. Someone's like, the only vegetables I really like are onions and peppers, but are they bad? I'm like, no, they're awesome for you. And I couldn't agree more. Onions and peppers make everything better. I've actually learned that I can just cut up onions and peppers and put them on a roasting pan and put them in the oven without any oil at all. Of course, oil always makes everything better, but if you're trying to really minimize your calories and have a food that you can just kind of have as like an extra, they come out great. They come out really good. I think it's because there's a lot of water in them. And then you can just add them to stuff. You can add them to eggs. You can make a meal with them. I've got a casserole that I've been making with onions and peppers. I wouldn't really call it a casserole. It's a Philly cheesesteak. It is called a casserole, but it's not even made with cheesesteak. It's made with ground beef, and I use organic ground beef, and I use the onions and the peppers, a lot of them, and make it on a pan so you can either eat it plain or you can put it in a tortilla, or you could put it in a hoagie if you wanted a real Philly cheesesteak. But that's been a big hit actually this season. We've maybe determined that it's the lucky dinner for the Eagles, but I really enjoy it. Mushrooms. I forgot how much I love mushrooms. Around the holidays, I started making sauteed mushrooms a lot, and they're so good, and everybody eats them. And what I've learned is they're really good leftover. They're actually one of those foods that are good leftover. So I buy the bulk portion at Costco. I cut them up thin. I spray some olive oil. I roast them, and then I'll recook them like with a little bit of broth. And they're so good. They're so good. I wish they had a little bit more protein. I could just eat mushrooms for a meal, but they definitely have some protein. And of course they have fiber as well. So they're a great food to eat. Asparagus, spinach. We already talked about kale, green beans, arugula. I don't know if anyone saw, but Costco, I don't know if it was just a one-time thing because I didn't see it the second time, but they were selling arugula. I was really happy. That's one of my favorite greens to eat. And you can cook it and you can eat it raw. It's just like spinach. You can cook it and you can eat it raw. Okay. Staying on fiber because I want to stay really focused in this conversation talking about food because it's been such a big request. Berries. Frozen berries are the bomb. They taste amazing. You can buy a bulk bag. They're very reasonable. They're not going to get rotten and you can portion them out as you wish. You can buy ones that are just blueberries or just strawberries. I usually buy the mixed berries. It's usually raspberries, blackberries, and strawberries. And I love them. I absolutely love them. And I've found that I can put them into my yogurt. Like I talked about having like a happy cup of yogurt. I can add them frozen and just add a little bit of cinnamon, stir it around. And then it almost tastes like you're eating an ice cream. That may be a stretch, but I really enjoy berries. So there you go, guys. There are some low carb, high fiber foods that are simple, easy to prepare, easy to have on hand, but artichoke hearts are another one. Olives are another one. My friend, Gretchen was just telling us about this amazing bean that is lower in carbs. And obviously any kind of bean is high in fiber. But what I've learned with beans, and if you love beans and you're carb tolerant and beans agree with you, go nuts because they're great for you. But what I've learned is I can have some, but not like a cup of beans. So I love to make another high fiber food that I love to make. And I'll share this recipe with you. Anyone that's listening to this, comment that you want the recipe or just reach out to me. I'll share this recipe with you. It's so good. It lasts so long. I actually just got cilantro today, so I can make it. It's a black bean corn salsa. It's got peppers, cilantro, jalapeno if you like a little bit of spice, lime juice, fresh lime juice. It's very fresh and it's a great thing to add to any meal to add fiber. So that's another food that I do love to have on hand is some type of salsa. Now, of course, it could be a jarred salsa, but a fresh salsa, like a corn salsa or a black bean salsa or a roasted tomato salsa that I make. If you like the idea of that, but that's not realistic for you to make a homemade salsa, look at the ingredients in some of the like bruschettas that you see out there and just something to put on top of your salad. So I will do, like I mentioned earlier in the podcast about tzatziki. I will do like a sauce, something. I always like to have like something kind of prepared that I can add to my salad to make it yummy. Hummus or tzatziki. Or hummus is actually another great high fiber food. It's not as much fiber as I would think that would be in hummus, but adding those things to your salad is a great way to dress your salad, add flavor, add fiber, and it's easy. So Lindsay actually asked me the other day about dressing and she's like, well, what's the best kind of dressing to get? And I was kind of like, I don't know dressing that well because I don't do dressing. Those are my dressings. That's what I like to do for dressing. I will do like tzatziki for my dressing or the black bean and corn salsa, pickled onions. In our winter challenge this year, on the first day, like Ashley was pickling onions, Julie was pickling onions, and I came home from a trip and I had like 6 huge red onions. So the first thing I did was I cut them all. I have an amazing new knife and I cut them all really thin. I actually learned, I was going to do a video on this. I'm sure everybody knows this, but I have a slow learning curve and I learned not even to take the skin off, cut the red onion in half, put the flat side down, then it's super easy to take the skin off and then just slice it that way. I think I cut up all the onions in like 5 minutes. I was really, really going fast. I'm surprised I didn't cut myself. But the pickled onion recipe, I took Julie's recipe actually, and it's really, really good. And I feel like I could just take because I actually made more of the vinegar It's like vinegar, sugar, salt, garlic, fresh garlic. It made a lot of that. So I'm kind of like, I just got more onions today. I was like, I think I'm just going to add more onions to it because it seemed like more than I thought I needed. I know I've done that before. So another great food to have on hand. Actually, that's something I've been enjoying on all of my meals this week because it just like a couple of pickled onions can totally make something taste better. And the arugula, yesterday I actually had, it was like a flatbread, something I don't usually have, but I was craving something different. And I had that. I had the flatbread with, I put some kind of sauce on it first. I didn't put tzatziki. Oh, I did. I put some boars and cheese on it. So I put the flatbread, it was almost like a pizza. It was exactly like pizza. The boars and cheese. Then I put the arugula. I sliced up some tomatoes and I added the pickled onions. I was like, this is like something that I would get at a restaurant. Oh, and then I put some fresh balsamic or some nice balsamic. One of my instructors, Dawn, got me a balsamic from William and Sonoma, and I thought Costco's balsamic was good, but this balsamic takes it up a notch. It's so nice to have something like that that's like healthy, that's like a little bit of a treat, like a little bit of an indulgence. And while I'm talking about that, we're about to talk about oil, so this is actually good. But so the other food that you don't want to avoid is fats, okay? So some people, I know when they want to lose weight, the first thing they do is they think I need to go low fat or I need to eliminate fat. And for some people, going low fat is definitely the answer. But you don't want to eliminate fats by any means. You need fat. Your body needs fat. And fat is what makes food taste good. If you are trying to eat less or being more in control of your portions, if you don't have fat in your diet, you're going to have a very hard time feeling satisfied. So think about all the foods that we named. There's a lot on the nuts and seeds and avocado and oils and fats list that enhance the flavor of your food and are also have nutritional value. Salmon is another one, guys. Salmon is high in fat, but it's super nutritious. So that's one of my, when people say like, well, what good fats do you eat? Salmon's always on the list. Salmon, avocado, olive oil, coconut oil, any kind of nuts and seeds. I love nuts and seeds. Those are all great foods that you want to be having at every meal, but not a lot. Those are the things that you need to measure. Tablespoon, 2 tablespoons, that's enough. If you're having nuts as your snack, then you're going to have to reel in your fat somewhere else. Fat adds up quick. That is for sure. So a lot of my students are tracking now, and you learn so much from tracking your food, from recording your food. But one of the things that they're saying is that, oh my gosh, my fat is really high. And I think when you are trying to eat healthy, your fat naturally will get high. Planning ahead is the secret. Having real food ready is the secret. Foods that you love, foods that you'll look forward to eating, foods that you can throw together fast. Don't try to be perfect. If you go into this new year saying, I need to give up this, this, and this, and I need to have this really strict, clean, perfect diet, I don't think you're going to make it past February. I think you need to figure out a way to make healthy food taste delicious and enjoy it. How you eat your food is just as important as what you're eating. Being calm when you eat, sitting down when you eat, putting it on a pretty plate. Oh, this is something funny that's going on right now in my house. Well, I stopped it, but we got back from our trip and we had no paper towels and no paper plates. And I've been much better about not using paper towels. I really try. I always have 2 dish rags, one kind of for clean stuff and one kind of like as a dirty rag in the kitchen. And I've actually been like washing them every night or washing them every time I do laundry. And I've really gotten good about not grabbing a paper towel for anything. And I never eat off a paper plate because I'm snotty about food and I don't like paper plates, but my family does sometimes. So I said to Andrew, I've gone all week. I've eliminated the 3 foods, no Pam, no paper. That's not a food, but like the Pam's right by our stove. And a lot of times I'll use that for my eggs. And I'd much prefer olive oil. I don't know why I do it, but I'd much prefer olive oil. And the team actually got me an amazing spray olive oil. So I've been using that. So no Pam, no paper towels, and no paper plates. And then Andrew got mad. He's like, I can't do this. I keep explaining how that's like ruining his life. I was like, okay, well, I'll get some. But that's what a conversation that I wanted to have. Even though I don't want to use paper towels and paper plates, I will use them if they're right next to where I cook. Your environment is so important if you're trying to do something, more of something or less of something. So the next thing I want to talk about is my decorations in my kitchen. So I have in my kitchen, right next to my stove, and my husband, Andrew, actually got me this beautiful white marble, super heavy 2-tier dish. And I was like, this is like too pretty. I don't want to use it. But then I was like, all right, I might as well use it. So I actually keep that dish right next to the stove, and in it, I keep lemons and limes. I know that seems weird because lemons and limes in the stove, but I like to use fresh lime juice in a lot of my dressings and salads, or just as marinades, or just, I use fresh lime juice a lot. I also use it in my cocktails, let's be real, but I use it in cooking. And almost every day I like to have a half a lemon. That's kind of like at some point in the day, I'm going to make a drink, like a mocktail, a daily drink that's got lemon and whatever else I feel like putting in it. So I keep the lemons and the limes and the squeezer on that white marble dish. I also keep garlic. Now, right now, and that's kind of gross, but like weird that I keep the fruit and the garlic together. But right now, I bought a huge thing of like pre-peeled garlic because I was cooking so much over Christmas that I was just like, oh, that will save me so much time not to peel the garlic. I actually got it at Lottie. I hope I'm saying that right. And it was really, really good. It's like still fresh. I'm definitely going to go back there to get that. I don't know why theirs is so much better, but I'm usually kind of picky about it. I don't really like it. And it says it will last like a month, and I don't think it really does. I think it lasts like a week, but this has been really, really good. So anyway, I don't have fresh garlic there now, but then in the back of, I have another tier dish. It's a 3-tier dish, and that's where I keep my potatoes. I like to have sweet potatoes and regular potatoes. Potatoes are such a great food to add to make any dinner complete. Or I'll take the sweet potatoes and I'll slice them the long way and roast them, and then they become almost like a piece of bread. It's almost like it is sweet potato bread. If you can get it right, they're delicious. You can make nachos with them. You can do so much with them. But I do always like to, or you can even just microwave up a sweet potato. Like if you're like, okay, we just have chicken and broccoli, I need something else. Just take a sweet potato, stick a fork in it, put it in the microwave for 10 minutes. It's cooked. It's good. And it's ready to go. So those are real food fast that I always like to have ready. I always buy the cherry tomatoes, the different color ones. Again, I'm kind of partial to having various colors in my diet, and those I love to eat. Sometimes those will be part of my snack. I like to slice them up and put them on my eggs. Sometimes I just throw them on top of the salad with a chopper and then chop them up. I find that I always go through them. Sometimes if I buy the big platform of tomatoes, I can't get through them fast enough, but that's just a great way to always have tomatoes on hand. They're one of my very favorite foods. And in that tier, I'll also have my onions, white onions, red onions, and my avocados live back there until they're ready to rotate. But the point, it's not where they are. It's the display. It's that they're out. I make a point when I come home from the grocery store to open up everything. Open up the bag of lemons, open up the bag of avocados, open up the bag of potatoes, because sometimes there's a yucky one in there and you've got to like get rid of it. Sometimes your bag is ruined, but it's certainly going to be ruined if you let it sit in there. So that's another tip that I want to give you guys, is just to open everything else up, display it, take your food. If you're coming straight home from the grocery store, take your chicken and marinate it. Take whatever protein. If you're I don't usually marinate my meat, so I don't do that. But sometimes I just cook it right away. Like I won't even put it in the refrigerator. I will literally just put it I roast my chicken in the oven. That's just how I like it. And then I cut it up thin. Sometimes I'll just cook it right away. In the summer, when we're doing fresh produce and or more fresh berries and stuff, always clean them, prepare them, have them ready to go. If they're ready to go, you'll eat them. You want to spend time preparing and displaying the foods that you want to eat more of. Your environment is so important when it comes to your nutrition. If you have chips out or salty nuts that you know you eat too many, first thing you open the pantry and you see those nuts, you're going to grab them. You want to create an environment that pushes you to eat more of the foods that you want to eat and makes the less convenient foods like protein and vegetables. I wouldn't call them convenient. I really hope that this podcast is helpful for you guys. I know I gave you a lot of information. I know a lot of this is stuff that you've heard me say over and over again. And I felt like at first I was like, I don't want to do this podcast because I feel like this is all stuff I've already said. But two things happened this week that made me realize that people need to hear things over and over again. One is I listened to the podcast with James Clear and Mel Robbins. And I have heard I've read the book multiple times. I quote the book every day. I get his newsletters. I love James Clear. I just think he is brilliant when it comes to the way he educates his audience on habits. And when I was listening to the podcast with Mel, I literally could finish every single one of his sentences. He is so consistent with his messaging. It's incredible, but it didn't bother me. I was like, I'm here for it again. Tell me again, the same way you told me before. I need to hear this again. I found such value in hearing it all again. And another podcast that I listened to this week is excellent podcast. Todd Durkin had the Story Brand guy, Donald Miller, on his podcast. And that's exactly what Donald said. He's like, keep saying stuff until you think people are so sick of you and then say it again. And that's branding. That's the whole concept of like being a brand is like that. This is your message. And I'm not here for that as much. I mean, I thought it was it was helpful. And I think it's true. I think people do need to hear stuff over and over again, but this is less about branding and more just about helping people with their nutrition and helping people with just real food. Like I'm not here to tell you that these are all the foods that you should eat, but these are the foods that I eat that I find are very convenient and everybody seems to like them. They're nothing fancy. There's nothing fancy about it. And I like to experiment and I like to have fancy foods, but these are the basics. If you can nail down the basics, then you can get a little bit more creative. All right. Well, I hope this podcast helps. Let me know if you learned anything new or if you want me to share any recipes with you. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Start Before You're Ready. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share with a friend who might need a little motivation. Ready to start your own journey? Check out our workouts and nutrition coaching programs at kellysbootcamp.net. You can choose from in-person sessions or virtual programs. Set up a complimentary coaching session to get started. Follow along with me and the show on social media at Kellys_bootcamp. Until next time, this is Kelly Young reminding you that the best time to start is always now.